y'all was talking about Snoop Dogg. I just realized this week Snoop Dogg is probably the most famous person
in the world.
It's
wild. You think about everything that he's done. I mean, he was doing laps with Michael Phelps the other day. I was like, bro.
He went from Murder Was the Case to like the most famous. Even kids who don't even know that Snoop Dogg know he's famous.
He's completed the main story. He's just out doing side missions.
Yeah,
that's it.
Man.
He's a true Renaissance man.
I mean,
football teams and like
he's the guy where it's like, I know a lot of times we may give certain artists slander. You can't slander Snoop Dogg.
There's not a bad thing
at all.
Well, with him and Martha Stewart standing next to each other, and Martha is the felon, bro.
Right. Martha didn't beat the case.
Yeah, she did not beat the case that was given to her. And it is like he somehow just, even when he like said he was gonna quit smoking, everybody was like, what?
And he was smoking grills.
Yeah. It was a smokeless grill. People were tripping out. We're like, no, you can't.
Hey,
quit,
they was talking about that on the radio. They said in other news today, Snoop Dogg may quit smoking. We was all talking like, man, ain't about to mess up the bag. We having ESPN analysis conversations about him not smoking. Like, that would never work.
Wild. It became a staple. It really did. And it's something that I think is unique to the fact that anytime he goes somewhere, you're just like, no, it's cool. Snoop can be here. Whatever it is. A cooking show, a fitness show.
The Olympics.
The Olympics. You know, let him go. A bunch of kids doing finger painting. Snoop's here. Oh, Snoop
It just
Dogg's
makes
here.
it better. Anything better.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man.
You could be dead. Snoop Dogg is here, though. Yeah, but Snoop Dogg was
So, I can tell you guys a true story about Snoop Dogg.
Go ahead.
All right. So, back in the day, I used to work at the Hampton Inn and Suites. I was the front desk guy. It was the year of the Hall of Fame that Deion Sanders got inducted.
Okay.
All right, so I remember what year that was, but that was the year it was. So when celebrities come, because in Hall of Fame, that's when Canton turns into Vegas every year. And all the celebrities are just, Jordan was here, a week ago or whatever. And so we had a reservation coming to the hotel for Forrest Gump. I was like, who is this? Because I was like, you need an actual, someone should have verified this name. It's just in here.
I just put this in the system.
And then it was there, and this person and him in this room, he had the entire 4th floor. So I went to my managers, and normally they're gone by 4:30. It's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. They're still hanging around. I'm like, what are y'all doing here? Who is this guy? Like, how do they have the whole 4th floor? They're like, all right. It's Snoop Dogg. I was like, Snoop is staying at the hotel. They were like, I was like, get
you ain't smelled the floor?
They weren't there yet. So the first thing that happened, Corrupt walked through the door.
Man.
And I was like,
I would have been starstruck right there.
So I'm standing there because I'm trying to maintain professionalism. Managers are next to me. I'm at the front desk. Someone else is. Normally, if you get caught smoking in the room, it's like a $75 charge. We put on the back of Snoop's key package for the whole 4th floor. It'll be $150 charge for it because we knew he was going to pay it, whatever it was. So eventually, his travel guy comes in the bus. All the people get off. This cat finally, Snoop, I swear he glided. He doesn't
I believe it.
That mug just glided his feet forward. And of course, now I'm on the phone talking to some Joe Schmo about booking a room in Canton. And everybody's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And they're talking, he's like, what's up, ladies? Because it was my managers were both ladies.
The most Snoop Dogg green.
So he walks in, and that's the whole thing. Next thing I know, the tour bus manager guy comes down. He's like, look, Snoop's trying to see a movie. I don't know if you guys know that. I was like, I'm the movie guy. Like, I'm the guy. So we go through all the movies, what he thinks he would like. I suggest they go see the Planet of the Apes, the first one with James Franco.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was that time frame. It was the same time that Deion Sanders was getting inducted. So he was like, all right, bet. So he went up there, came down. And so Snoop came down. I was like, hey, so you going to the movie? He's like, for sure. I was like, all right, man. Well,
He ain't say for shizzle?
No, he said for sure. He was like, for sure. And then I was like, all right, man, we'll enjoy, He's like, all right, no doubt. And he walked out, man, and then anybody that was at Cinemark at Planet of the Apes that night freaked out because Snoop was in the
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I sent him there, so y'all are welcome.
And you made the fire recommendation.
Right. So then next thing you know, he leaves, right? This guy leaves the whole 4th floor, smoke damage, obviously. But this guy left his braid beads, he left his clothes, he had left his Deion Sanders jersey, so the housekeepers are just in heaven, bro. This cat left a whole bag, and I'm not talking money, bro, left the whole bag
Of weed?
Yes. And
What?
then the head housekeeper was like, what? I was like, bro,
She
what
was
you
pretending like, what are we gonna do with all of this?
Well, she was like, is there a way I can verify that this is Snoop Dogg? That way I can charge like $7,000 for it or
Can
something?
we verify that it was Snoop?
So,
Fuck selling it, smoking it.
That's so she said she did.
That had to be a cool encounter to see Snoop Dogg.
Bro, it was crazy. It just stuck. It sucked because it was always behind the front desk. You know, I've had a couple encounters with some famous people recently where I got to actually be like shoulder to shoulder with them. But the Snoop Dogg I had to still work. But it was just cool, man, because first off, that mug is tall.
Yeah,
But
right.
I don't understand. Like, I know I hang around tall folk, but I'm like, damn, mug, what?
Damn, Uncle
6'4"?
Snoop?
Yeah,
he
like,
big guy, man.
You were tall, bro. And like almost had to dip his head coming in the doors and stuff. But cool as a whistle, man.
That's like that type of story. I feel like everybody has a cool Snoop Dogg story. I'm longing for mine. And y'all got any cool celebrity encounters, Chase?
Shoot, none that I can recall right now.
None of the encounters? What about you, Jeremy?
Very fortunate chance encounter.
None that I can think of. I mean, I feel like I've had a few, just nothing as cool as a Snoop Dogg story.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate, man, because, you know, years and years and years, and I'm at some rink-dink hotel. I mean, it wasn't rink-dink. It was nice, but, I mean, it was just because of the Hall of Fame. That's the only reason. And that mug had the whole floor, and I got stuck with the worst shift that night. You know what I'm saying? So it was like getting big. I had to work all night. And then they showed up at like 9, 10 something right before I left. I'm like, oh, snap. So my fault. So then I was like, yo, I'm about to chill for a little bit. But, you know, obviously,
Chill on the floor with Snoop.
Security was crazy.
Like, were they big?
Yeah,
were they big?
Yeah, they were big dudes. I saw 4 of them, but then once they like came in, they went and parked the bus around the back. So then they were, you know, they didn't use the main flow of the front lobby. And then by the time they left, it was like 8 cat. There was way more than I saw come in. So
Snoop gets like an unlimited. I can smoke anywhere. Like I'm sure, because we always think like with Paris and the Olympics, we're not smoking, but they're like, we'll let Snoop.
It's a pass.
He gets a pass.
Yeah. They were like, we're sure it's like a necessity.
Right.
To his being.
He is a Snoop Dogg if he isn't doing it.
Yeah, they'd be concerned. Dude, like, have you already smoked? It's like, are you waiting? Like, it's
sure
okay. You can do it. It's like,
right,
we're
man.
fine with it.
So you talking about film and you made that recommendation. It's been, since you were my guest on the show this week, I've really just been keeping up with a lot of different movies.
For sure.
There is so many movies coming out. Like, it's like a influx of movies.
It's
like,
wild. And there are 2 sides of the coin, because a lot of people are like, it's sequel, prequel, meltdown on everything.
Live action remakes,
live
everything.
action remakes. So a lot of people are like, bro, I don't need to see Snow White made in live action. But then you get other situations where you get the new Mufasa story, where this is a brand new story about him and Scar growing up, and they're going the CGI route, which, you know, I'm an old school. That animation, man, that sticks to me. But that CGI, they do a fantastic job. But they've got some aspects of new stories that they are making. There are still some brand new stories that they're creating, of course.
I didn't know it was so many stories. Like, with all these new movies coming out, I think even like being with Jeremy a lot, him talking about the different movies, all the different side stories, because you were talking about the different CGI and all that. We were talking about this afternoon, right?
Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah. And we're at the age now where we don't realize how old we are.
Man, that's what I told him.
Yeah, until like your boy M. Night Shyamalan, he's old enough that his daughter is old enough to be making movies.
She's making movies?
Yeah, that movie, The Watchers, that came out with Dakota Fanning or whatever. And it was from, I can't remember, it started with an M, but it was M. Night Shyamalan's daughter.
He told me about the damn Lilo and Stitch CGI live action.
That's going to be crazy.
My daughter is a huge Stitch fan. I mean, the D23, I always look forward to all the stuff they got going on, because outside of the stuff, they always break my heart by not announcing things. Like, you know what I'm saying, Blade again. That Blade was announced in 2019, bro.
Yeah.
It's 2019.
Is it coming?
They might as well just shelve it. I heard they canceled it off the timeline thing that they had. So
What's
I'm
the
like,
holdup?
Push it back.
they've had multiple writers, multiple directors. I don't think. I mean, one time they said the first version of the script, Blade wasn't even like a main focus.
Wow.
I was like, bro, you have an Oscar Academy actor here.
But I was
like,
reading
signed
that he
up.
was like the OG of the whole like franchise of the films.
So it was the original when it started with Fox and Marvel.
Right.
It's basically where Blade. That's why they like to call Blade and I guess Edward Norton's the Hulk, but they kind of shelved that early. But Blade and Tony Stark as the godfathers of the Marvel thing.
Gotcha.
Because Fox's version kind of brought about the X-Men and all that jazz. My timeline might be mixed if X-Men came first, but Blade to me is what stuck out the most. It's like, holy crap. This was like, and it was Marvel? Like, this was just cool.
I was waiting for it too. It's a lot of different movies that have just different actors.
Yeah.
You don't really know what goes into making these movies. Like, back in the day where it was like every year, but now with the bigger budgets and more film, like, it takes 2-3 years to make movies sometimes.
Yeah. That's why I love whenever you see those little scary movies where they spent like, 10, 15 grand and then they put it out there and it makes like 70 million in theaters. I'm like, man, I'm so happy for them. They're probably losing their minds right now, bro, because so that's all they do. They scrape whatever money they can get. They put something out there for an independent film. It wins at a couple festivals. And then they're like, you know what? Let's throw like 10 grand to get a reel. Put it out there for main distribution publishing. And then you do that. And then you make millions of dollars.
I've seen that too, man. I've seen movies be shot with iPhones.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know
it's
what I'm
big
saying?
business. It is. It is a big business. If you get a good video editor, people don't really care how it's shot. You can have something grainy and busted. Dude, like, oh, I like that Blair Witch look, dude. Like, no, my phone was just an old, like, Motorola. Like, that's just the way it looked, bro.
I had Singular, you know what I'm saying? You figured this out.
I was doing that film on a Cricket phone, but I had Acid Express. So, like, so I'm in there throwing with the, edits and CGI. And so there's a lot you can do now, man. But film is, for me, it's always been massive thing about storytelling. That's why there are certain writers and directors that just have these loyal fan bases, man. Like whenever Christopher Nolan releases anything, you have a swarm of millions of people like, well, I'm seeing whatever it is.
Who's the one director or like film franchise that you always look forward to?
That I would say probably just for me bringing him up, Chris Nolan. He's some of my favorite movies: Inception, Interstellar, the Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah, Inception to me, I was like, your brain has to be a totally different level. The whole thing, because I've always been fascinated with the construct of time and that fourth dimension, man. And when he made Tenet, I don't know if you ever watched Tenet. That people still don't understand. They're like,
I gotta revisit that movie.
They're based on some real stuff. But in Interstellar, when he made that, this guy. So the funny thing about scientists is that they're all funded by like the state and the government, so they don't get shit. Excuse my French, like they don't really get anything.
What you mean, man?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So they don't really get much. So Christopher Nolan went to Kip Thorne, who was the leading astrophysicist on black holes. And he's like, look, man, I need you to give me the most accurate black hole you can make. And he was like, I mean, we've got the science here. Look, here are my mathematic calculations. He's like, no, I don't want all that. Put it on a computer, like visualize it for me, work with the computer graphic designers, engineers. I mean, money is no option.
Man,
I've got millions of dollars. Take it. So Kip was like, bet. So they got every scientist too. Like, if you guys ever had a note or an idea or a theory, I have a blank check that they want us to construct the most realistic black hole that science can
for a movie,
for Interstellar, for this movie. So when they made it, and which was a phenomenal movie, by the way, and when you see the black hole, you're like, what the hell is that? That looks like a weird sun freaking thing. That's not a hole. It looks like a ball. Right? It looks like a ball more than all. You're like, what even is? He's like, oh, it's because it's bending time and light. And you're like, bro, that's...
And he paid for that.
So they paid. So everyone was like, they took it like whatever, movies, they can't get it right. So then years go by, astrophysicists, scientists get their first actual picture of a black hole. You can Google it. Like, what is an actual picture of a black hole? You'll see it. It's just like an orange ring, basically, because, radiation is all you're seeing. Right. You know what I'm saying? But when you see that picture, so then Kip Thorne and his people, they were like, he had a nice little meeting with I think it was a class of students at MIT or something, and they were like, yeah, everybody was like, so, what happened? How'd you guys fail? look at your version of a black hole and look at this photo.
Right.
They're nowhere the same. He's like, I totally get that. And he's like, so the fun thing about this image, he's like, it's flat, 2-dimensional. So we reconstructed this image in a 3D computer for you guys. So if you take it and you turn it down and flip it on its axis, that mug looked identical.
Man.
to the movie, cat. Identical. So
you got money. You got money when you can make a black hole.
From science. The science is sound. The science, that's when you get the science rules. Bro.
Yeah,
you know
Bill.
what I'm saying? They were like, look, bro. Yeah, it doesn't look right. If you look at a picture from a different angle, it looks different. But let me flip it for you guys the way it was in the movie. Look how simple. They were like, oh, shit.
See, you be a cool person to watch movies with.
I'm telling you,
all
man.
type of shit.
Because I do. It has to be certain things that pique my interest.
Sure.
Like people like, oh, let's do horror movies. It's like, all right, I do slashers. I don't mess with it. Ever since my grandma told me The Exorcist really happened, I was like, oh, see, I don't mess with that paranormal shit, bro.
I ain't big on the paranormal joints either.
I'm cool.
You do, Jeremy?
I'm cool on it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
No Ouija boards, no tarot cards.
I don't want nothing coming back on me. So
Oh, yeah.
I like even ghost hunting. My son stayed the night at a friend's house one time, and he was like, Dad, they're out here. They got one of those ghost reader things, and they want to go outside. I was like, I'm on the way back, bro. I'm on the way to get
I'm coming over with you. I'm spending the night, too.
Back to my house, cuz. Absolutely not. So, space to me, it's too big for me to not want to know more about it.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So I watched the Gravities and the, what was that? What was it? Lost on Mars? Something Mars with Matt Damon.
The Martian.
Yeah. Man, now that movie was, that was a good movie, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
That was a good movie.
In high school, actually, I think I was like a senior or something like that. We read the book and then had to watch it.
Oh, yeah. Of course, everyone said the book's better. But the movie did justice.
Was crazy.
Yeah, the movie did justice, man. And so stuff like that. I'll even go as far, I'll mess with like Event Horizon. So
that was a good one too.
Yeah, back in the 90s with Lawrence Fishburne.
Okay, I remember that joint now, yeah.
I can't remember old boy's name. It's the leader from, the main guy from Jurassic Park. But,
Jeff Gold.
No, the other guy with the hat. You know what I'm saying?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're going to have to look that shit up, man.
See, man, I know this episode's going to be sweet because you making all the fire recommendations. We talking film and movies. We always make references to it throughout the show, man. So really quick, before we go on our break, where can they follow you at on social media?
Oh, my gosh, bro. I wish I was more active out there. So on Instagram, it's photograph. So just like Frodo from Lord of the Rings, Frodo, and then graph like a photograph.
I thought you meant photograph. I'm like, that's pretty general.
No, Frodo, yeah. Frodo. So Frodo.
He said, I'm for the photograph, $7.95.
So, right. And it was like Sam Neill.
Sam Neill?
Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne. That was the guy from Jurassic Park. Yeah, so otherwise, man, I'm just on Facebook. Tim Johnson, there's only 600,000 of me. You know what I'm saying? So
600 million photographs.
Yeah, you just gotta. Yeah, you look up photograph, you'll never find me. It's photograph, a journey of photos of photograph. But man, otherwise emails. I'm very low key. My kids keep me off the grid. Grip Squad. It's some old back. If you find me on social media, it's usually from like 10 years ago, Kat. But we'll talk more. I'll try to get my stuff together more. I know it's ugly. You not have my socials.
Nah, you straight. Jeremy, where can they follow you at?
You can follow me on Facebook at Jeremy Andrew or on Instagram at _Jinja_1.
Nice.
Chase, what about you, man?
They can just follow me on Instagram at Chase_Alexander99.
You follow me on X, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok at Jean P the MC, www.jeanpthemc.com. Be sure to follow the podcast, SWYM Podcast, on Instagram. If you're watching, like, rate, comment, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. Subscribe to us.
Yep.
YouTube.com/Jean P the MC. Tim, you gonna stick around with this for a minute?
Yeah, man, of course.
Of course, man. That's right, man.
Yeah, you already know what it is.
Yeah, say what you mean. We'll be right back. 154. Peace.
Say what you mean what you say.
Yo, episode 154, Say What You Mean podcast. Jean P the MC. My guy Tim Johnson in the house.
Yes, sir.
We talking film, we talking science. This is gonna be a fun episode, man.
Everywhere.
Jeremy had to step out, handle some family business. We got my man Chase filling in. What's going on, Chase?
Another Sunday, man.
I see you
Another
like
Sunday.
sci-fi. I'm learning all this about you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's my avenue.
I love that, man. I love film, man. Like I think we all love film, you know. But it's just like I was saying earlier, it's just so much movies coming out, so many. So
It's a lot.
great year, man. I've been hearing about the Deadpool, Wolverine.
That was so good.
I heard that was good. It made a lot of money.
It was
Oh, it
great.
did.
I mean, and the funny thing about having kids is I still end up seeing all the movies I wouldn't have seen, you know. So that Garfield was hidden. That Garfield was hidden, bro. Chris Pratt again. I was like, can somebody else do voices? So now he's Mario and he's Garfield.
Man,
Like, come on, good.
Now I did see the Mario film.
The Mario film
that
was
crazy.
hitting good.
I like that.
I like that. Jack Black did a good job.
man.
Charlie Day, even oh girl, I can't remember her name. She was in all those Glass, and she was in the new Furiosa. She's got 3 names. Oh my gosh. Anyway, she played Peach, and I'm gonna have to find it out because I can't not know.
So she played Peach in the movie. That was a good movie.
She was
I liked it.
the voice of Peach, and so Anna Taylor-Joy.
Okay.
Anya Taylor-Joy, whatever. She was the voice of Peach. She did very good too, all things considered. And the Despicable Me 4, that wasn't bad either. I thought they had like run its course, man. Like I get it.
Thought it was over. We get the point.
Bad guys, gadgets.
A brand. They can do anything and they can make a hit.
It was enjoyable. I messed with it, dude. So you know what? That's what's funny. But other things like If I didn't see, they got a couple ones like the Purple Crayon Joan.
Yeah.
My stepson went and saw Long Legs.
I heard Long Legs was pretty good.
So they said that movie wasn't just scary; it was like disturbing.
See, man,
So
it's a lot of movies out there that's getting that clickbait where it's like I gotta watch that. So
yeah, there's a lot, man. I try to be out there, and there's some sleepers, dude, like that Godzilla -1.
okay,
That Godzilla movie came out of nowhere and is probably, in my opinion, one of the greatest Godzilla movies that's ever been made ever.
Godzilla -1.
Godzilla -1, man, and it's like. It's got subtitles, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
like
that's how you know
it's
it's fire.
like it was so wherever it came from, Korea or something, man. It was going so hard in theaters. It came to the US and it just blew up. It blew up. And I had to see it. And took my wife with me, bless her heart, because I was like, look, you're going to have to read a little bit up in this jump.
We have to look at the screen, but she held it down.
Yeah, she held it down, and it was like they even managed to show you Godzilla features and things about him that haven't been done in any other movie.
Man.
And that's with all of the Matthew Broderick, Puff Daddy, walk with me, ding, ding, ding.
Classy. That's the one I remember.
That Godzilla. Or the new one where it was like Godzilla, King of Monsters with Samuel L. Jackson and all them cats where they had to bring Godzilla, then he had to fight King Kong and then all that stuff. So, and they've continued that where it was like Godzilla and Kong fighting a different monkey. And like, so that's a different Godzilla. This Godzilla -1 is different.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna have to add that to my list of films,
nowhere,
man.
bro.
Me too.
Came out of nowhere. And I was like, wow.
This is films with Tim.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that's my avenue. I talk about a lot, but you give me something I'm passionate about. And
It's funny because everything that you're saying about that, somebody literally just told me the same thing about it.
I'm telling you.
Got to watch it.
You know what he's talking
man.
about.
Yeah,
That's why I said.
I only give
Yeah.
good recommendations if I can say without a doubt I've seen it for myself. And if you don't like it, you just don't like the stuff I like. I mean, that's really. But I'll never say someone like if you don't think it's the best, you're crazy. No, if you don't think it's
Right.
the best, you don't
It's
think it's
just
the
your
best.
opinion.
Yeah. But I personally think that was the best Godzilla ever. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I like seeing movies just to be like that movie. It's the worst movie I've ever seen. like there's a couple M. Night Shyamalan movies. That's how I know he is a great writer and storyteller, and he will consistently let you down at the end. Consistently.
He was disappointed.
It's almost like I count on it. And so even when I was watching Old, I was like, I know this is going to end terribly. And it did. So I was like, there, I'm satisfied in the fact that he's consistent. But The Village, if anyone ever saw The Village,
I did see The Village.
one of the worst, my top
that was
3
confusing.
worst
Like
movies.
that was
The fact I was like, I don't want to kill any spoilers for those who like Shyamalan. If you go see it, if you haven't seen it, but for me, it's top 3 worst movies I've ever seen. A24 made this movie called Men.
I didn't see that yet.
It had a lot of good stuff going, man. It had the right energy. I was like, bro, this is gonna be good. One of the worst, and my wife will tell you, bro, we were sitting in the theater, it's like, what are we watching, man? It was,
Damn.
Oh my gosh, talk about taking something great and just, I don't know, maybe it was a book was better if there's a book, but yeah, so I tried, but I appreciate those terrible movies, so I can really appreciate the good ones, and to be like, well, you know what, you live and you learn. Now whenever someone talks about that movie, I can be like, whoo.
Yeah, let's see. If it's a bad movie, I just tend to forget about it. If it's over, I'm not even doing that. But before we get into the interview, we do gotta pay some bills. Right. So what time is it, Chase?
Sponsor time.
It is sponsor time. And one of the sponsors is this place that we're in, the Hub Art Factory. What you think of the space, Tim?
Oh man, so I've been here for listening parties. I filmed a short film here. Shout out my boy Eric Simon, Quincy Harris, DJ Q. We had a great time filming right up here and down here, man. And I've always liked this spot right here in downtown Canton. And it's open. Every time I come here, the art changes on the walls.
Always.
Consistent.
Shout out to the Hub, man.
The outside building is the best art.
And it's an art show, it changes.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, right over here. Big space.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Hub Art Factory, Tim Carmody. Shout out to our first official sponsor, Helmet Heads, where flavor is the main priority. Helmet Heads is a cannabis-based brand owned by cannabis cultivator and connoisseur Jamie Randall Jr. Each batch is carefully crafted in the most organic way possible to ensure a good, smooth, healthy product. No spray terps welcome. It's the baby. IG and Facebook, Helmet Heads Exotic. So shout out to Helmet Heads and Equity House and Pristine Steam Wash for sponsoring our episode. So Tim, man, we got to ask you this, man. What part of Canton you repping? Where you from?
So this is the funny thing about people that say they're from Canton. Like, hey, where you from, man? Be like, I'm from Canton. You can tell if there's no T when they say it. Yeah, you know, I'm from Canton.
Nobody says Canton.
So I'm from Canton. No, you.
No one says that.
Nobody says that.
So when you say like, I'm from Canton, oh really?
Canton.
What part of Canton? So I feel like, all right, I'm from the northwest side. I used to stay in the southwest side. That's where my people were. I used to stay the night there a lot, kick it down by the monument, Tusk and all that. Kicked it with my boys on the northeast side, 62, Walmart 62, 33rd, Ellisdale Chips, all that. I didn't really mess with the southeast side. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with it, but it was northwest, northeast, southwest. That's where I was at. That's where I grew up. That's where all my people are at. Shout out to all them areas. Monuments, downtown, all the noble spots in Canton. But I'm from the northwest side. That's where my kids are at, go to school. You know what I'm saying? I'm up there in, near Belton Village Mall and the Strip and all that jazz. But, you know, when I want to go out and have some fun, man, I'm out here seeing my people down, usually on the southwest side.
That's what's up. So growing up, man, what was it like growing up for you on the southwest side?
Man, you know, so it was different because there was like, it reminded me of going to see my family in Maryland. You know, shout out to PG County, Prince George's County, Temple Hills, Maryland. That's where almost all of my family is from. So going from Ohio to Maryland, man, it was very night and day. And the funny thing, I used to joke about how turns is like skin tones and complexions, you know what I'm saying? When you down in the northwest side, you don't really be, right. be looking a little bright down there. And then you go to the northeast side, you're like, oh, dang,
oh my goodness,
there's like
here.
78 of us in this store. So it was like, that's to me, I mean, obviously that's a whole sociology class in its own, but you know, it's a different aura, it's a different vibe. I've been very fortunate to be able to have situations where I could take my car when I was 16, drive on the highway for 15 minutes down to 62 to see my boy Nissan and Sean and kick it with them, and then they would hop in my whip and we would get in some trouble and go to the Duke and go to the basketball courts and, you know, go whatever. So I'm just very fortunate. I was able to get, you know, help my boy Nissan get a job at Damon's, and then he used to stay with me and we would go back and forth back when Damon's Grill was in Belton Village forever and a half.
Fire ribs.
Yeah, man, it was a great spot. So it's definitely part of my upbringing. this is funny that as much time as I spent here, I didn't actually ever live in the Southwest side, but I swear I half grew up out
Just
here.
great.
Yeah,
It's like that being here. Like you'll be born on one side of town, but you'll spend so much time
here,
on one part of another. It's like you kind of associate that. It's more of a Canton thing.
Yeah,
So
and all my best friends, shout out to JMC, SOTOV, THC podcast, all them boys over there. They he still hangs out on the Southwest side, so I'm out here every week. I try to see this guy. So
you in the city.
yeah, I'm
That's
out
what's
here
up.
all the time, man. You know, and bless my wife's heart, she's, you know, she could enjoy some acres and open fields. I'm like, nah, we need some hole in
need
the
some city.
walls. Yeah, we need to go see a whole bunch of thugs out here in the
We need some
Oracle.
traps.
Yeah, I tell other babe, I need some ratchet. Let's go to Nathan's.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna find it
I
at
need a
Nathan's.
fish bowl or something. Let's go.
When did film kind of take place or come into your life?
So, shout out to my boy Rob Anderson, Robert Stanley Anderson, who was my best friend and never made it to see 30, man.
My
ended up,
condolences,
yeah,
man.
he passed away with a heart condition his family never even knew he had. He never knew he had. It's just pain in his legs, and then it took over in like 2 weeks.
Man.
But this guy put a video camera in my hands probably, I mean, we had to have been in first or second grade, you know, so his parents gave it to him. Next thing you know, bro, we're doing the stop animation. So you record, stop, and then you got your little Toy Story movements and stuff. We're making movies, bro.
Man.
We're like 6 and 7 making movies, and we're next thing you know, the Blair Witch comes out, bet. We're making a Blair Witch, you know what I'm saying? We're in the backyard, and then Jackass comes out, bet. Who's taking the skateboard into the dumpster? Like, we need to film. And then it just became this thing where life emulated art, which emulated life, and then it got to the point where me and my boy Rob would literally go to Eagle Video. Back when Giant Eagle used to rent video games and movies, we would go to Eagle Video.
Damon's and Eagle Video.
I'm
You
telling
taking
you,
me
I'm
back.
an old head, bro. They're like, oh, you're so young. I'd be like, I got
Yeah,
grades,
Chase don't
bro.
remember that, bro.
Yeah, he's like, Eagle, what? No, it was, you can be like, man, you can rent a game for 5 days for $5,
Hell
bro.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, they're like, ah, dang. So, yeah, now the Redbox is like $2 a day.
Right.
You know, but, so we used to go to Eagle Video, and we would just walk around, me and my boy Rob, and we would just look for movies that piqued our interest. So that's how we ran into Requiem for a Dream. I don't know if you've ever
I
seen
remember that
that.
Marlon Wayans.
Yeah,
in that
Marlon
joint.
Wayans, Jared Leto. I mean, that movie was wild and crazy. And that's also how we ran into American Beauty with Kevin Spacey,
Remember that.
man. These are just movies we just picked off the shelf because my boy Rob was like, man, it won 5 Academy Awards. Let's watch it.
Back
All right.
when movies got awards, they were actually good
they were
films,
actually
you know what
like
I'm saying?
something that's they're like, yo, this story is different, you know. And so it got to the point where after that, we're like, man, we need to just write. And we started getting it. I always used to love writing anyway, but the concept of writing scripts was different to me. So Rob, I mean, this guy was, as much as he did film, he did music even more. I mean, piano, drums. And then when he even said, he was like, man, I'm about to learn the violin. I was like, bro, this guy learned the violin. I came over one day, he was playing the
violin. So when he put his mind to something,
yeah,
he would do it.
man. And so he was definitely one of a kind. He got me started, and then I was just more of a chatterbox. So I used to start volunteering at like the Canton Film Festivals, and then like anything I could do to get more of a taste in the film or going out in that ways. And he was more of a doer, where he would write a script in a day and a half and film that with himself.
Man.
Just knock it out. So I'm like, oh, we need to like make a film or something together. He's like, oh yeah, I just filmed one like last week. I'm like, you did? He's like, yeah, I just set it up and did it and filmed like 87 shots and like positioned it and edited it. And I was like, damn, bro, you're that guy. And so I kind of took a lot of that with me when he passed. And kids obviously can tend to slow life down a little bit, but my passion for film and for stories, it has started definitely since elementary school days, man. And then it just never died. I was one of those things where I was like, man, I'm gonna just chase my dream forever.
Yeah.
Because why not? And even old people get casted in films or can help with some kind of something. I was like, I'll just keep trying. And then opportunities randomly come and they go. And I did 80% of the things I've done for film has been for free. pro bono. You know what I'm saying? Just to get the experience. To be like, you do us a solid, we'll do you a solid. Like when I was on the, I was a submissions committee member for the Cleveland International Film Festival. So I'm on the committee. They're sending a group of us. We get 3 films a week. You have to watch them. You have to grade them A through F, and you have to write a paragraph on your reasoning why you gave them that grade. And then we would get 3 films a week, bro. It had to have been 8 to 10 weeks. We were knocking that out, man. And then in exchange for doing that, you got a free ticket to go to the film festival. And that was their exchange. But for me, I'm like, man, I never been to a film festival. And now,
I love people that can do that. Like,
you know what I'm saying?
And review a film.
Absolutely.
You know
and then and there was some stuff, even the stuff that was like a C or D quality. I'm pointing out the things that were good about it. I was like, I do like the fact that these characters seem to be having fun on set and da-da-da. Unfortunately, they clearly aren't taking it professional. They don't know the lines, the acting, the timing, the lighting. It's like, so this is kind of not going to work. But it was just such a drug, because at the same time, I'm like, but even still, even a D or an F film, they made something.
Right.
I haven't made something that I'm submitting to a film festival. So even the worst film, I couldn't knock, because they tried. And they did something. And they had categories that were documentaries, short film, long, horror. So, I mean, the Cleveland Film Festival, CIFF, it's a big deal, man. I mean, the prizes go up to like 10 grand, 8 grand. The smallest prize is like $1,000, I think. So
what I also learned about you in Cleveland was that you were a production assistant on a Superman film.
Yeah, so, and it's so funny, because they just sent out the final NDA, like, follow-up agreement to be like, hey, thanks for signing that NDA. Remember,
I was going to ask you that, like, you couldn't talk about it at all?
So I can, as long as I don't give away potential plot spoilers or anything.
So you can't talk about the story.
Yeah, I cannot talk about the story.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask you that. I was wondering that, because when I first saw it, I was like, so what can I ask, or what can I not talk about?
So this is my final payment here. Oh yeah, here we go. Because they never called it Superman. It was called Genesis.
Okay.
So we were like, oh, I'm working on the Genesis part. We're the Genesis team in Cleveland. Is that the Superman movie? I mean, Genesis, yeah.
So
Genesis.
it's like,
so that's what it was. So and for those who want to know, it was called Superman Legacy. Now it's just called Superman.
Okay.
They dropped that, but this is my Genesis rap confidentiality and social media reminder.
Okay.
Where they're basically saying, thank you for all your hard work. We couldn't have done without you. It's been great to run this. As we wrap, we would like to remind everyone that our production policies, not sharing photos on social media, remains intact from release.
For sure.
We would like to preserve our visuals, details, plot, and information tied to the film. So basically, don't release no plot. Don't release no pictures.
Is that tight knit, because shit just leaks so quick? Like, is that tight knit? They had to call it something else.
So, like, even just knowing certain characters are
true.
I do not like. Thankfully, there are certain things that have never been on the set that I know are in the movie. So if I would have, blurred that out, they'd be like, what? And then it could be, your show could end up trending, and I could end up with a very bad phone call.
Man,
but it would be, there was a lot of moving pieces and parts. This is my first time ever being on as a production assistant, a PA, and then I was in the tower in Key Bank in Cleveland, working in the offices, helping all the main production. So Peter Safran is the co-CEO with James Gunn. They're both running this. I was Lysol wiping Peter Safran's desk.
Man.
I had to set up his office and his chairs and make sure everyone had their individual snacks. And this executive producer likes vegan beef jerky sticks, and this executive producer likes to have this specific type of brand of Fiji water, bro.
So it's like a rider for the crew.
It's 100%, and it's not that. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna say who it was. Because I saw him a couple times. The dude with the British. Once you get high enough up the totem pole, you're British. That's like
right. Black actors too, man. Once you're good, you're British.
What is that about? But This guy said he wanted trail mix. This is an executive producer, and I love these guys. They're very hardworking, very good people. But the people have their particularities. Yeah. He wanted trail mix. He wanted peanuts to be the second most item in the trail mix. And if you couldn't get trail mix where peanuts were the second most item, then he wanted just peanuts.
Oh my goodness!
I was like, wait.
He didn't give you an acting role if you do all that.
So, well, thankfully, it wasn't up to me. It was up to one of the other production assistants. She was a production coordinator. So she looked, bless her heart, and then came back with just the peanuts. She's like, I couldn't guarantee the peanuts were what there was the second most of, and
good for you, man.
yeah. So, but then after that, after being on in the production office, then I had an opportunity to be on set, and they were like, "Look, man, I'm gonna be honest. You're gonna be doing everything. You're gonna be doing everything from working right next to a cast member to taking out the trash sometimes. But you'll be on set. Like they'll be saying, quiet on the set." Action, and then you'll be like hiding to make sure you're not in the shot. And I was like, damn, I'm down, like let's do it. So they put me on set, bro, and then next thing you know, that's where you had all those pictures of all those green tents out in Mineral, Ohio, and we're out there sweating to death, man. And it was like, shout out to Crafty Services. That's kind of what I was doing when I was on set PA. We were craft, so we were the people that were keeping all the coolers filled with water, Gatorade Zeros, Fiji waters, your coconut waters for the people that want them.
Fancy.
I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying? Bro, there was stuff out there I ain't never seen. They had probiotic water. I was like, you mean the stuff that's in yogurt?
It's that Hollywood stuff.
I was like, they got it in water?
Where'd they get that at?
Bro, it was like, you got to go to Sam's Club and go to the back.
That's all it's on Sam's Club in the back.
And then, but we had, when you walk in the craft area, man, it was just lined with just snacks, jerky, fruit snacks, muffins. Because these guys, all the crew, there's hundreds of crew people that are working nonstop that may be like, look, I got a minute and a half until I got to set up the next shot. I need to come up here, grab a bottle of water, a Red Bull, a stick of beef jerky, this trail mix, and 2 bags of gummies, and go right back to set.
Man.
And then our job is to keep that stocked up, keep the waters cold. So we're running, bro, one day when we were in Mineral, Ohio, we ran and we got 85 bags of ice because them Jones were melting so fast. So, and I would never break my NDA by showing you pictures, but if I did show you pictures, I would show you that there were like suits that had to be hooked up with apparatuses that would cool down people's body temperatures,
man,
because it was so hot out there on set. And people were like, it was a lot. And, listening to James Gunn, man, you heard him on set all the time, the speakers, because he was at his little area in his tent. And then the speakers would play out all over. So, the whole experience was fun for me, too, because I saw The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt recently. Great movie. It was very, very funny. But the whole movie is one of those movies about making a movie, which is nice because you get that, the movie's filming that behind the scenes, all the nuances, all the characters, the extras, the assistant to the assistant of the assistant, and things where it's like, it's just wild how many people it really does take to organize some of that stuff, and then being able to live that right afterwards was surreal to me, because there were a lot of things that these people, you honestly didn't even know what they were doing, but there was tons of us. There was probably 100 extras one day, and then there was a person that like, okay, you're in charge of positioning these 4 extras right here. And you'd have an assistant in charge of that. And then there'd be like, all right, you got to make sure that the stuff in this scene, that they know the timing on this. And then, you had the cast, and then you had the cast as stunt doubles, and then you had the cast as stand-ins. So then you would have somebody, so if you're the star, and then I'm your stunt double. So when it's time for me to get hit in the stomach a couple times, you get off the screen and I get on the screen. And then they're like, no, the shot isn't right. The lighting is all messed up. We need to just look around. Let's get a stand-in. A stand-in is just somebody that looks like us.
Yeah.
They're not going to do anything except stand and walk and be in this angle at this light. And then that person would be like, okay, that's good. It looks good. All right, get the person that's the stunt double for him now. Like, okay, good. And then now that you did that stunt, now get you in this scene, and then you'll say your line afterwards.
See, man, it's so much within a film. Well, okay, so we're gonna do this real quick. So
Yeah, for sure.
we're gonna take a break.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you more about that.
Please
Peace,
do.
positive point. You say a quote, I say a quote, and then Chase says a quote, and then we'll get out of here. All right. Episode 154. Say what you mean. Peace.
Peace.
Episode 154 of the Say What You Mean podcast. Mr. Tim Johnson in the house. I gotta dap you up, man.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you for being
bro.
on the
Thank
show.
you. I appreciate this opportunity, man.
A lot of good movie takes because I've been wanting to watch some good films. So all the films, I'm gonna listen back and go back to all of those.
They're out there, man.
I trust any movie you pick.
If I recommended it, I've seen it. You know, I do not blindly recommend anything. So.
Thank you for being on the show,
Yeah,
man. We appreciate
absolutely.
you. Thank you for Chase too, man. Holding down the camera,
man.
Oh, yeah,
and being
man.
on the show.
Multi-
Dual
Talented
roles.
guy.
Yeah.
Doing it all, man. So Tim, I want to ask you, man. I know we've been talking around the episode, but briefly talk about your experience with sickle cell because you are diagnosed, correct?
Right. So this is hereditary,
Yeah.
which is in layman's terms is you was born with it.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So it was something they didn't even start checking people until 1996. So the reason we found out I had sickle cell is because I had a seizure when I was 2. So that was 1989. I had a seizure, and they were like, well, that's not normal. So they looked into it, found out when I was 14, I had meningococcal meningitis. It was almost killed me. I made it through, though. Mom Dukes took me to the hospital. They're like, we don't know what he has. We're just going to pump him full of antibiotics. Then they woke me up the next day, and they were like, hey, so you have meningitis. We have to give you a spinal tap to make sure it's not going in your brain. I'm like, what is a spinal tap? So anyone that's ever any woman that's had a baby, it's like getting that long shot that goes all the way in your back to numb your spine. So it's like that in reverse. Instead of getting the long needle to go to your spine to numb it, they put a needle in my back to pull out spinal
Yeah, I had
fluid.
one.
Yeah.
It did not feel good.
It did not feel good. I tell people it's kind of like imagine an elephant balancing all of its weight on a needle pinpoint.
In your back.
In your back. And it's like, and then there's so much pressure that when they're taking the spinal fluid out, it feels like they're sucking you off the table, bro. Like it was crazy as a mug. And then it got to the point where once I turned 18, just like foster care, man, I was going to Akron Children's Hospital at a hematology unit for sickle cell. Then I turned 18. They were like, all right, bro, you aged out. Adios. Go out there and find a hematologist. And I'm like, oh, all right. So the fun thing about having sickle cell is that one of the only ways that you can treat a sickle cell crisis, which is basically for people like, what is sickle cell? All right, your red blood cells are in the shape of a circle. When you have sickle cell, they're in sickle shapes. So what's a sickle shape? All right, think of the Grim Reaper. Remember that long thing he has on the end of his stick? That's a sickle. So instead of your blood cells being a full circle, they're in a Grim Reaper shape. So when they're going through your blood vessels, they'll get caught, hooked on something. Then something else gets caught on that. And then that gets caught. And then you have a blood clot all of a sudden. Now you've got pain in your body. It can happen anywhere at any point at any time. Usually where it happens the most are joints, your knees, your wrists, your back, your hips. There are several levels of sickle cell disease. A lot of people have the trait, but you've got the disease, SC disease, all the way up to full-blown sickle cell disease. Those people are getting bone marrow transfusions when they're like 7, which if you don't know, is one of the most painful procedures you can get. And I lucked out, which is funny to say, that I have crystallizable sickle C hemoglobin disease, which means that I have some blood cells that are sickle shaped, some that have hard crystals on them, which just forces them to clot and other reasons.
Yeah.
But so that's the reason why I have functional asplenia. We were like, oh, what does that mean? That means my spleen doesn't fucking work. You know what I mean? So they're just like, so I got a freeloader, just a dude on the couch in my body, just and they're not doing nothing. But so when you have these sickle cell crises, man, the only way to take care of them is through aggressive pain management. We're not talking Tylenol, we're not talking Percocets, bro. We're talking we're not even talking morphine. You need some top tier tramadol. I guess morphine would help. A lot of times if it's bad enough, it won't really get to it. You have to do Dilaudid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Heavy and stuff that they will not give you. And even if you're just dealing with sickle cell with Percocet or Vicodin or something, it got to the point where They're like, so the only thing that can help you are pain pills? Yeah, right. So now if you go to, and I'm sorry to blast them negatively, but hey, man, change your ways. The Tri-County Hematology and the Hematology and Oncology Associates, as well as the Oncology Associates of, I don't know if it's Canton or something, none of those hematology clinics will treat sickle cell disease. So they are blood doctors that will not help you if you have a hereditary blood disorder, because the only way to treat it is with pain meds. Pain meds is obviously, if I get 50 Vicodin, I'm giving you 10, I made $100. I'm like, oh, my sickle cell hurts, I need another 50. And then now they're the pain pusher, so that's why you have the ORS report. The ORS reports are when you get hard pain prescription drugs filed, they make like a little mark on it. So then if I go to the Rite Aid and file, and then I go to Giant Eagle and file, they're like, nah, fam, you just got some over here. Like, so they do that to stop people from doing that. But even with those ORS reports out there, they refuse to treat sickle cell. So anytime I need to see a hematologist to help me learn more about my hereditary blood disorder, I got to go all the way to Akron, bro. I got to go to SumaCare in Akron because they'll treat sickle cell. And they've the dude's talked to me about a lot. He's the one that told me I had the crystallizable hemoglobin. He's the one that told me my spleen didn't work. I was like, man, I've been alive 30-some years. Right. Nobody could tell me that. One time I had to I went to the Jackson family practice down here in Canton and told her I had sickle cell, something with XYZ. She was like, oh, what is sickle cell again exactly? So I'm telling my doctor what sickle cell was. I was like, you know what? I don't think you're going to be my doctor for a while.
Just we got to tell them about.
So I tried to create the SCAN Ohio, which is the Sickle Cell Affinity Network of Ohio. It's coming off my brother. He did EAAN, which is Erie's African American Affinity Network. So I just try to create like a little nonprofit thing to spread information out there to help people out. There's a lot of things you can do to treat it. Where to go, doctors that'll actually help you, little things just to be informed, man, because they don't really spread information out there. A lot of people are forced to deal with sickle cell on their own, and it's painful, Kat. Like, it's painful all day, every day. And some people got it worse, but information's out there. It's just, so we have, even September Sickle Cell Awareness Month, but,
You said September?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a couple of things that go out there, some pamphlets, flyers, but it's a low-key thing because it's not like killing people like at mass numbers, but it's something that affects mass numbers of families,
Thank you for sharing the information, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt.
We were talking off the record, and I was saying I wasn't aware of it until ironically enough, Supercell.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Yeah, please check that out.
Yeah.
Talk to me what you think about it.
Yeah, I saw the picture with the dude's eyes glowing on Netflix. Yeah, I keep going past. I need to just add it to the list.
I'm shocked you ain't seen that, man.
Yeah, you know what? And it's so funny because I have my things, and like I just finished the Axel F.
Okay.
The new Beverly
That
Hills
was fire. I like that.
Good,
was
man.
fire. Yeah, I like that.
I'm here for it.
You're right.
Yeah.
They did not disappoint.
Nah.
No.
And then I'm gonna be honest, man. I watched Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder's Little Joan on Netflix.
I ain't checked that out.
All right, so I saw it, part 1 and 2.
Okay.
And now he's got a director's cut. I'm like, this guy and his director's cut. I'm watching the director's cut of part 1. It's like a whole different movie.
Okay.
I was like,
I gotta check that out.
yeah. So just go straight to the director's cut.
All right.
Yeah, it's gory and brutal and graphic, and you're like, yeah, I mess with it. It's like, this is good.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Tim, man, for being on the show and sharing all these great film facts. But I know how we give it up on this habits. Peace, positive point. We love ending the episode on a positive note.
Yes.
Best quote. So I want to start with Chase. What you got for us, man?
All right, so my positive quote it's by Iron Man,
Okay.
Tony Stark.
Nice.
So
Yep.
you can work hard, but if you don't work smart, you will work for the rest of your life.
What's that mean to you?
Work hard, not smart, because I don't want to be working for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
Yeah.
essentially.
Shout out to Iron. You said Iron Man?
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Tony Stark,
Hell
Iron Man. for
Just be
sure.
smart, sometimes it takes, just take a second, think about what you're going to do before you do it,
Yeah.
All right. I like that. And my positive point is another film director, Alfred Hitchcock. He said, the length of a film should be directly related to the endurance of the human bladder. Meaning, like, you ever go to the movies?
Yeah,
You be like, man, this shit is really good, but I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think that's like the test of a good movie where if you just go to the bathroom, you're like, man, shit,
Man, I can wait, man. Hold on a second.
You pushing through, you're like, man, I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah. So it was just a little playful quote I came up with because I always was like, man, the best movies is where you like, you know what, I might just sit this out and just watch this shit, man, and go ahead.
Yeah.
I love the movie. So shout out to Alfred Hitchcock for that quote. The length of a film should be directly related to the endurance of the human bladder. Tim, what's your quote for us, man?
So my quote is going to be from Dr. Mae Jemison,
Okay.
who is a former black female engineer and NASA astronaut. And she said, never be limited by other people's limited imaginations.
What's that mean to you?
So for me, it's one of those things where take people's opinions with grains of salt, but do you, man.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to write a book about a sponge under the sea with square pants on, bro, you
And the
might
rest
make
is history.
you might make an empire.
For real.
You know, like
1999.
that's what
Man.
I'm.
To this day.
So to this day,
It dropped on my birthday.
To this day, you did.
It dropped
Right.
on my birthday.
To this
That,
day,
that's what
man.
I'm saying. And it's just like, so for me, when we talked about Tenet and Inception and all these films, and I'm like, man, really, it was just
An idea.
somebody who, took the tiniest little idea and was like, I need to think outside the box. Like, what if I could get in your dream and plant an idea that made you want to do it when you woke up from it?
That's beautiful,
Inception.
man.
You know what I'm saying? What if there was some kind of, a way to travel through a black hole to get to the
Or
other
buy
side?
one.
Yeah, or right. And it's just these things where, and I'm always here for the remakes, sequels, prequels, remakes. It's all good. It's good for keeping the love of something for new generations. I get that new generation flow of stuff. But then every so often we get a little gem that is like, wow, that was like, if you'd like a scary movie, Talk to Me, man. That was, if you
Talk to
haven't
Me
seen
was fire.
Talk to Me, that was like, it's just the right amount of different that you're like, dang.
Definitely never seen nothing like that.
Yeah, it hit different. And I'm just like, so I love people's imaginations. I find I'll go in the bookstore, man, and I just be in awe of people's imaginations. There's just thousands of imaginations that took some time and said, I'm going to put imagination on paper, or I'm going to put it in a toy, or I'm going to put it in a song. And
that's all it takes.
all
Can you
it
say that
takes.
quote one more time?
Dr. Mae Jemison, which my son will probably laugh. So, Jay, remember when you saying, if my teenage son, man, he's always saying I glaze people. So he'll be saying, CJ Stroud, the black astronaut lady. So this is the black astronaut lady, Dr. Mae Jemison. And only CJ Stroud is a quarterback for the Texans, but he used to play at Ohio State. So that's the reason why I give love to CJ. Yeah, IO. So she said, never be limited by other people's limited imaginations.
I like that. That's what's up, man. This has been a fun episode. Any last shout outs before we get out of here?
Man, shout out to my wife.
Congratulations to you
Thank
again.
you, man. We're still in she always said we're in the honeymoon phase. We good, but I've known her. Bro, I knew her since I was 18 when my boy brought her over on a date. I said, yo, that girl kind of bad, bro. I was like, shut up, work out, let me know. She kept me in the friend zone for 10 years.
Oh, man, that's a long time.
That's a long time, bro. That was a decade in the zone, my guy. And then we dated for 8 years, engaged for 3 years. We've been married for 3 weeks.
That's what's up, man.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Congratulations.
yeah, shout out to my wife, man. She's been holding me down for a long time, helping me continue to be like, yo, I'm going to be driving to Cleveland, working 12-hour shifts so I can be on set for this movie. I'm going to need you to take care of my son and feed him and do whatever with our daughter and your son. And she's like, all right, bet. Just make sure the check clears.
That's
I'm
just
like,
right.
Yeah, I was like, bet. We'll make that arrangement. Shout out to my brother, LJ. I mean, the guy, he's like a father figure brother. He's my only sibling. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to My sister Ro, I love you. Shout out to all my family and Maryland, man. Like I said, Maryland, D.C., Baltimore area. I don't forget y'all out there. I don't be seeing you, but I love y'all, Kron, everybody, man. Grip Squad, SOTOV. I got so much love for people, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anybody that's out there hustling, working hard. November Williams, Cons. Shout out to Cons. Shout out to Cons.
Shout out Cons, man.
And shout out to, even people, Joe Allende, Lex Dawson, people who used to film and stopped. Because, don't think that your work is forgotten, man. Lex was one of the best local filmmakers I had the pleasure to work with, man. You know what I'm saying? Artwork, there's mad people. You, bro. I talk about John because I have a friend named Sean P.
Okay.
Hey, my guy, shout out to Sean P. Jones, man. And then my wife will be like, Jean P. or Sean P.? I'm like, no, Jean P.
Put some respect on that name.
The MC, if I say the MC afterwards, you know what it is, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
The whole state of Ohio, anybody that's out there working hard, anyone that's not a deadbeat dad. Shout out to the non-deadbeat dads, bro. That's
100%.
a whole nother episode. You ever talk about, and I can help y'all get custody of your kids, man. There's knowledge. There's a way to do this for real. You go to court or go to file a motion, get an affidavit of indigency. Okay, if you need to file a court motion and you get an affidavit of indigency, it's a magical piece of paper. If you make less than like $42,000 a year, they'll waive the $260 you have to pay to file a motion. So these are people who are just trying to get to see their kids. They don't want all, they just want to get something. You know what I'm saying? There's a way to help you be able to see your kids the right way. If you're fighting, there's a lot of guys I know that have kids they can't see and the fight just seems hard and impossible.
Yeah.
If you just start, man, just start and stick with it. It's like working out. It's like growing that new weed plant people are doing, or like sticking with a video game that keeps knocking you down, man. Just don't give up. So shout out to the non-deadbeat dads, man, because if for the good ones, we get overlooked. You get 0% of custody if you have a kid out of wedlock in the state of Ohio. Fathers have 0%, man. And I learned that the hard way. It took me 7 years, $7,000. A couple therapists, bro. I finally got it, but it was hard, and so that's another episode. We got there's shout outs for days. I'm gonna have to start a podcast after this, man, because I knew I would enjoy being on here. I went to a radio and television broadcasting school. Shout out to Ohio Media School. Yeah, I had to create a whole radio morning zoo show. And shout out to James Redway, my radio partner back in OCB, man. Shout out to Carrie Moran at 107.3 Alternative Cleveland. Carrie Danger, shout out to her who went to school with me. Shout out to Misty Stiver who got an Emmy after we went to school together just for doing a news show, man. And these are few and far between. He's like, everybody I meet in my life, they're important. Shout out to my man Joel White, who never let anything stop him at life, and like Rob's mom. Shout out to Deshaun Young, man, who recently, he recently had a loss. Was his sister passed away. We give love to his mom, and his dad's already passed away. So prayers out to their family. Young's been the GOAT forever. All the Grip Squad, though. Clark, Cody Keys out in Cali, Jim Hurdle. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. MJ, Akron M, Lil Marley. I could keep going, bro. Shout out to where I do stand-up down in Massillon. You know what I'm saying? At Crackpots.
Okay, yeah, Club. Crackpots is dope. Yeah.
Shout out to Crackpots where I do stand-up sometimes. Y'all see me down there cracking some jokes. Like I'll be shout out to Cinemark, where I be at all the time seeing my movies, man. And my dad, Dr. Freddie Lee Johnson III, who's out there teaching college students out in Michigan, man.
That's what's up, man. That's dope, man. Real dope episode. Chase, you got any shout outs?
Man, just shout out y'all, the pod, fam.
Yeah.
Same here, man. Shout out to all the listeners, the viewers,
all the listeners
watching every week. I appreciate y'all, man. This has been fun.
Yeah.
We're going to see y'all next week. We got Nakaso coming next week.
Nakaso. Hey, shout out to my mom. If I didn't say it earlier, I love you, mom. Nakaso is straight fire. Anyone... Don't sleep on this guy. Yeah, I'm telling you. And he was recently on 107.9. So then he took that song, was making a music video out of it. I couldn't get there, but I know that had to be a good time. So I'm excited for my boy Nakaso. He's been doing his thing, man.
Yes, what's
Can't
up?
turn down.
Shout out to Nicasso,
New time
man.
new father, man.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
Yeah.
When you have that kid, every holiday is that kid's first holiday, man. So it's first Father's Day, first Christmas coming up, first Halloween coming up. You know,
Yeah.
it's good times.
That's what's up, man. We gonna see y'all next week. Jean P, the MC, Tim Johnson, Chase in the house.
Sir.
Episode 154. Say what you mean. Peace.
Peace.
Say what you mean. Mean what you say. I'm from the 330. Where them boys don't play. Say what you mean.